Mr. Lukamin, you have the floor.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you. Good morning.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy Independence, Nigeria. Happy Independence, Nigeria. Happy Independence to everyone. I am happy to welcome us to the Sunday edition of the Youth and Security 2020 in commemoration of the independence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We all know the theme of the year, which is together, and we are doing this together because what we need to be together, the societies to ensure we other things together, and together we are going to make the world a better place and Nigeria a better place. I want to update everyone who is watching us live on YouTube, on Facebook, and every other channel watching us. We also welcome our distinguished speakers. First, I want to welcome the representative of the Honorable Governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, welcome, which is the Commissioner of State Duties. Welcome, Commandant of this corps. We all welcome on board Mr. Wale Olaoye of the Aloy Security. Also, who is my wife. I also welcome the representatives of the city of Lagos because we are the city of Lagos on this one as well. Hopefully, we will have him as well. I want to say this event is being streamed live. We have young people at the world watching this event. So I also want us to note that most of the young people who belong to this category of young people work different as volunteers, especially in uniform organizations, and many of them are involved in organizations just as and this time when community policing came up in Nigeria, it is for us to participate in the project, to see how best we can participate, to see how all stakeholders can come on board and make the participation useful and to make our community safer. Thank you very much. Welcome you all to this event.
Thank you, our host, that is in person of Comrade Lukamin, as popularly called, for putting this together, for engaging the youth for, for the safety of the nation and the safety of lives and property in this country. We thank you for putting this together. And I will be your host, I'll be your anchor today. I am Taiwo Bakare from the Global Police Initiative. And I want to welcome you all once again. As we have heard from our host today, we are actually having this discussion to mark the 60th independence anniversary of our country and to set the record straight, as the issue of security is something we must all, stick to, we must all adhere to, and we must all fix. No issue should be too much for us to resolve as long as it is a problem, as long as it is, if it poses one form of insecurity or another, we must fix it. And that is why today we have brought together, people in security industry, people who are well versed and who are well educated, to come and share their thoughts with us and to come and, engage the youth for, adequate in the attempt of, seeking adequate security in this country. How can we help ourselves as a people? And how can we support the government for, to have a formidable security system or security framework That is the essence of today's discussion. So permit me to, I wouldn't know if the governor's representative is here. So just in 5 minutes, I declare this program open. Mr. Lukamin, is the representative of the governor here or the representative of the CP? Hello, Mr. Lukamin. Okay.
The representative of the governor
is here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you can go ahead, sir. You have 5 minutes for your address, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Tayo Bangboshe Martins, and by profession, I am a civil engineer, a former permanent secretary in the Lagos State government, retired, and now, by the grace of God and the authority and approval of Mr. Governor, the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties, Lagos State. Now, I'm here representing Mr. Governor, and therefore, let me first greet you all. On behalf of Mr. Governor, I greet everybody, all participants in this program. And I commend particularly the organizers of the program. There's not much to say because I've been listening to the introduction. And the truth is this: security is not something that we all do not understand as essential. It is essential to our very lives and living. But let me correct a notion. I know we have security challenges, huge ones, particularly in this nation. But let me correct a notion. The notion that it is peculiar to this nation, it is not. Now, security challenges is universal. And every nation, every people must take it serious all over the world. And indeed, it is taken serious everywhere you go. There's hardly any nation in the whole world that you not find security challenge as one of the primary, given primary attention. For instance, in the US, they call it Homeland Security. In the UK, it's called something else, and so on and so forth. Perhaps what we are trying to say here is the fact that, number one, as a nation, we are far from where we should be in terms of addressing our security challenges. That's number one. Number two is that our approach and attitude to security is still lukewarm, even though we pay so much lip service to it. And therefore, I find this webinar very, very apt. And I encourage that it is something that must continue. Why am I saying that it should continue? It's because, you see, security challenges is not something that you can solve once and for all. It is continuous. Because as you are stepping up and addressing the current challenges, trust me, new ones have emerged. For instance, way back in time, when we talk about security to start with, we are saying that there is threat. There is some kind of risk and threat to lives, to properties, and even the environment, so to speak. And therefore, I recall that many years ago, before we moved on to this technology and IT stage where we are, there was nothing like cyber attack. What we knew in those days as security challenges were basically the physical, nothing. There was not, but today we have security challenge, not just in the area of what is the common areas, but there is a security challenge in terms of IT. And it's probably even huge. It's probably even larger than the common ones that we all face. Yes, we have problems of Boko Haram. We have problems, security problems of even attack from armed robbers, you know, and so on and so forth. But let us not forget that there is another one which is always germane to every nation, and that is cyber attack. For Lagos State, we as a government, as an administration, we are responsible and we have structures in place. Some of us, a lot of us here may know what I'm about to say, but some may not know. For the benefit of those who don't know, we believe so much in the community policing, which is one of the key points in today's discussion. And that is why in Lagos State, we have established what we call the Lagos Neighborhood Service Corps. And this has existed for some time. The Lagos Neighborhood Service Corps, you will see them all over the place, really, you know, in their beautiful uniforms here and there. I must tell you, they are doing a wonderful job, fantastic job. Of course, we will have a few bad eggs here and there, but trust me, they are doing a good job. Now, well, it is structured in such a way that they cover practically every division of the state. We have 5 divisions in Lagos State, and they cover everywhere. And then we have 20 local governments and 36 LCDs. They exist in every single one of them. They have what we call regional offices. Sometimes, you know, we merge and loop some offices together, some areas together under one regional office. But then, what is their assignment? Their assignment is to move around within the community, integrate. It's not necessarily to behave like authoritarian people, but more or less to integrate with the community and obtain information. They should be the first people that would get information of security threat and all that. And what they do essentially is to pass it over to the police and other security agencies. And as for Lagos State Neighborhood Service Corps, of course, I'm sure most of us have heard of an upcoming one, the Amotekun. Lagos State has not fully launched its own. Some states have done that. But you see, the way we operate, the way we do our own things is that we take it step by step. We ensure that everything, for instance, there were some states who were about launching this, the laws were not properly passed and all that. We did that. Some of them even came to copy our laws. You know, especially what we had is that we have a law that has established Lagos Neighborhood Service Corps. So we tweaked it in order to prepare the ground for the Amotekun. So as it is now, a huge part, very special part of the Neighborhood Service Corps will form the Amotekun. And so when they come on board, this is another step we'll be taking. So as time is going on, we believe in this. We work with the state security, we work with the police, and ensure that to the best of our knowledge. You also have the Security Trust Fund established by Mr. Governor. It was the board was inaugurated recently, and what do? They provide through various private organizations, donations here and there. So equipment, weapons, and all sorts of infrastructure are provided in order to ensure that our security agencies are well equipped. You gave me 5 minutes. I could still go on and on, but at this point, I just want to say one more thing before I let go. The truth is, government cannot do it alone, and therefore we need the youth. The youth are indeed, you know, when you say the youth are indeed the future, no, the youth belong to today. The youth need to be seen and to be heard and must always be active. And therefore, There is no way government can do it alone without collaboration and good cooperation with the youth. So I'm very pleased to be here, even though I'm representing Mr. Governor, but I'm also pleased to be part of this program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful opening speech. We quite appreciate you. In fact, you have set, a good tone for the discussion today. We really appreciate your opening speech, and we say thank you very much for the information you have given us on what the state is doing and the part of the youth as the leaders of today, as people that are very crucial to the security architecture of this country. We quite appreciate that. We pray that God Almighty will continue to strengthen you, sir. Wonderful. Now we move straight to the next item on our agenda. And now we are to have the opening speech from the Commissioner of Police too. I don't know if the representative of the Commissioner of Police is here with us. Yeah, it's time for us to have the speech from the Commissioner of Police. That is CP Akim Odumosu. Look, I mean, can I have any information as regards him? Is he here with us or his representative? Okay, if he's not here with us, we are moving straight to the next thing on our agenda, which is to have opening speech too from the Deputy Governor. And because of the schedule of this webinar, if the Deputy Governor is not here with us now, we might later take his address as part of our goodwill messages by the grace of God. So now let us start the discussion proper. I have one of our discussants very much here. In fact, I can see 3 of them very much here with us. And I want to thank them for joining us. And I want to thank them for, taking this serious as we have taken it serious from our hand. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce to us the first discussant who is going to take up the issue of security as it affects Nigeria as a nation and as it affects Nigerians as a people. And that is Ambassador Dixon Akor. Ambassador Dixon Akor is the National Commandant of Peace Corps of Nigeria, that formidable and indefatigable security outfit that has been doing a lot to strengthen our security architecture in Nigeria. And okay, can we have Mr. Akor, please, Ambassador Akor, please, for your presentation, sir. You are highly welcome, sir. Okay. All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You can go on, sir. We can hear you. You are highly welcome, sir.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties, the organizers of this program, our able moderator, distinguished audience, and co-discussant. I want to say a very big happy birthday, a happy independence anniversary to our dear nations in arrears, and also to celebrate the organizers of this program for putting this program in place. I wish to start by commending the wisdom of the organizers the Tiviato Hub Foundation for using the occasion of Nigeria's 60th anniversary to bring to the fore the all-important issues of security, which should constitute the focal point of national discourse in these rare times when insecurity in the country is at an all-time high, with the pundits reeling out even gloomier focus for the future amid the economic ruin occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. As the founder and national commandant of Nigeria's foremost voluntary uniform organizations, the Peace Corps of Nigeria, I consider it apt and indeed a great honor to be invited onto this platform to speak on the topic, voluntary uniform organizations as a major players in nipping crimes in the bud. Within the larger context of the theme of this year, second Youth Peace and Security Summit, which is a safer Nigeria at 60, a community policing strategy. Definition of key concepts. Actually, I think that the concept of voluntary uniform organization requires no further elucidation as it is self-explanatory. What should be of interest to us is the concept of community policing, why it is the best option for Nigeria to address some of its persistent security challenges and how it could be implemented in line with global best practices. Indeed, the concept of community policing has gained prominence globally in recent years. The statutory policing authorities and community leaders collaboratively search for more effective and efficient ways to enhance public safety and the quality of life in neighborhoods. The Community Policing Consortium, arguably the highest authority on the subject today, define community policing essentially as collaboration between the police and the community, which identifies and solves community problems as it relates to security. In other words, community policing takes the responsibility of enforcing law and order in communities out of the exclusive jurisdiction of the police, as it encourages all stakeholders to become active partners in the onerous task of policing. Effective community policing requires the participation of all stakeholders, both public and private sector organizations, civic and business leaders, residents, churches, mosques, schools, hospitals, private individuals, etc., etc. Key community policing tactics include community organizing, door-to-door contacts, neighborhood mini stations, and intensified enforcement coupled with community involvement. Desirability of community policing in Nigeria. The fact is that policing strategies that work in the past are not always effective in present times. As communities evolve over time, as does the nature and scale of crimes, security experts are therefore in congruence on the need for innovations in policing to curb the crimes in many communities. Nigeria has made several modest attempts in the past at implementing community policing. The Police Community Relations Committee is one of such efforts. While some measure of success may have been recorded, it is obvious that a lot more is desired. Many communities are experiencing serious problems with drug abuse, gang violence, ethnic and religious upheavals, kidnapping, human trafficking, burglary, murders, mugging, etc. In spite of the surge in crime rate in Nigeria, economic and budgetary constraints make it impossible for the police to access the adequate funding it needs to effectively discharge its mandate. Unfortunately, the social fabric of our society has changed dramatically. The family unit, the foremost agent of socialization, is not as stable as it once was. Our schools and religious institutions have also been unable to fill the gap by offering the right kind of training and orientation to the children and youth of the society. With all kinds of negative influences being absorbed by young people daily via social interaction with their colleagues, peers, strangers, the media, social media, there is the need to ramp up policing efforts in a bid to nip crime in the bud. Hence, community policing is one of the policy thrusts of the current administration of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, in areas of security. To that effect, the federal government inaugurated a 15-member interagency committee in 2019 to strengthen internal security framework and community policing in Nigeria. However, while inaugurating the committee in Abuja, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Gida Mustafa, noted some of the factors militating against the effective implementation of a comprehensive internal security framework and community policing in Nigeria to include poor policy linkages, multiplicity and poor implementation of policies, centralized control of the police force, weak monitoring and evaluation mechanism, poor application of technology and innovation, absence of integrated database to aid internal security management, poor budgetary allocation to security sector, and lack of confidence and trust in the country's security agencies by the Nigerian populace. Unfortunately, there are still obvious bottlenecks in the community policing strategy, which the federal government is currently tinkering with. Government is mooting the idea of implementing community policing using 500,000 volunteers from across 774 local government areas of Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, to address the shortage of manpower in the police. But the volunteers of the program are said to be beneficiaries of the Empower Scheme, a federal government youth empowerment program established in 2016, and members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYC. This is in place of recruiting 10,000 extra police personnel initially canvassed by the government. But experts have expressed grave concern that unleashing 500,000 untrained Empower volunteers and NYC members into policing role could be a source of insecurity in itself. While voluntary uniform organizations are major players in community policing, indeed, there is no succinct, fail-proof manual for the implementation of community policing. But with the acute shortage in the manpower level of the Nigerian police, the need to engage in services of voluntary uniform organization to complement the efforts of the police cannot be overemphasized. The uniform voluntary organizations such as the Peace Corps of Nigeria, Boy Scouts, Man-O-War, Boys Brigade, Yes Guide, Red Cross, to mention but a few, can help to tackle the core challenges of centralized control of the police, budgetary allocation to the security sector, and lack of confidence and trust in the country's security agencies by the Nigerian populace, as expressed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. They can also address the issue of lack of training associated with Empire graduate and NYC members, as they offer some sort of basic training on self-defense, crime detection, collation, analysis, and transmission, report writing, collation, and analysis and transmission, etc., to their members. In fact, experts have opined that effective community policing with the current Nigerian police will require massive changes in orientation, organization, and operations to enable it provide the quality of services that will benefit the Nigerian communities. The Community Policing Consortium, in its monograph titled Understanding Community Policing, revealed that helpful information will be forthcoming from community members when the police have established a relationship of trust with the community they serve. Establishing this trust will take time, particularly in communities where internal conflicts exist or where relations with the police have been severely strained. Only when community members believe the police are genuinely interested in community perspective and problems will they begin to view the police as part of that community. The social distancing, if I must employ the contemporary term of the police from the communities, was further reinforced with technological advancements. Automobiles replaced the era of friendly foot patrol officers. Rapid contact with the police through 911 system allowed them to respond quickly to crimes. However, answering the overwhelming calls for service left the police little time to prevent crime from occurring. Answering distress call limited a broad police interaction with the community. Hence, as the efficiency of police in rapid response to crime increased, rapid response rather than prevention of crime became an end in itself. A study by the Kansas City Police Department assessed the value of rapid response by the police and concluded that in most cases, it did not help to solve crime. The crime sample that was analyzed indicated that almost 2/3 of these crimes were not reported quickly enough for rapid responses to be effective. While a prompt police response can increase the chance of making an on-scene arrest, the time it takes a citizen to report a crime largely predetermines the effect that police response time will have on the outcome. Furthermore, trust is undeniably the core value that underlies and links the components of all community participants, partnership, and efforts at problem solving, such as community policing. Without trust between the police and citizen, effective community policing is unachievable. By involving voluntary uniform organization in policing efforts, the police will have more resources at its disposal to prevent crime instead of responding to crime. In other words, the police should be more proactive to crime prevention than reactive. The idea of a centralized management of the police force, as seen in Nigeria, further isolates the police from the community which they serve, thereby hampering effort at crime prevention without strong ties with the communities. Police may not have access to relevant information that can help to solve or deter crime. There's no denying the fact that Nigeria is still plagued with pervasive social injustice, massive corruption, and ostentatious living by the few privileged elites. All these factors inflame disillusionment, anger, and frustration in the teeming masses, and fueling crime and criminality. Widespread poverty is a factor that predisposes our youth to crimes and the violence and the culture of violence. So in addressing the challenge of crime in Nigeria, we must address the issue of pervasive poverty and idleness, especially amongst our youth. It is clear that the effort of government at all levels and the organized private sector alone can not provide all the needed solutions to the challenge of youth unemployment. Hence, the need for government to encourage initiatives geared towards providing alternative employment to the youth, to give them a sense of purpose and belonging in the society, and also to keep them positively preoccupied to reduce their vulnerability to criminal tendencies. Because an idle mind, as they say, is the devil's workshop. The uniform voluntary organization can help in so many respects, from mopping up the teeming army of unemployed youth, which is a security threat on its own, to giving them the right orientation and training on morals, values, and ethics, patriotism, and nation building. Their pervasiveness in our communities can help to erase fear of insecurity from the hearts of law-abiding citizens, while mounting those fears on the person with criminal tendencies. As I draw my conclusion, let me emphasize that in the more advanced crimes, youth-based organizations like the Peace Corps of Nigeria are established by government with the sole aim of engaging and preoccupying the youth as a remedy to the social consequences of leaving them unemployed and without a sense of purposes. Organizations like the American Peace Corps, Canadian Peace Corps, Chinese Labor Corps, Peace Officers Commission in China, Malaysia People's Volunteer Corps, and Bangladesh National Cadet Corps readily come to mind amid a horde of others. At this point, I want to thank the Lagos State government for even coming up from what the Honorable Commissioner of Special Duty just made us to understand with the issue of the neighborhood. And I believe for over 5,000 youths who have been pulled from the street shows that the Lagos State government is doing a whole lot to address not also the issue of insecurity, but youth unemployment. Special commendation must go to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, and I want to tell the Honorable Commissioner of Special Duty, the Peace Corps program, I know as a permanent secretary, you may be conscious of one reality. Started in Lagos. The pilot phase was operated in Lagos with so much support during the administration of Olagunsoye Oyilola. We know that the NYC retention camp premises were handed over to me. The quarters behind Government College also in the Agege was also handed over for our officers to stay. Then we succeeded in mopping up arms and ammunition from schools and colleges. We believe with you being there now, I think the commandant of Peace Corps of Lagos will direct him to meet you so that he will work out a framework of partnership with your good office. We appreciate what you are doing, and our recommendation goes to the state government. We need to encourage platforms and provide meaningful and productive engagements for our teeming youth ravaged by extreme poverty and unemployment, as is the case in more advanced societies. Finally, I wish to round up by stating that creating a constructive partnership between the police and the community usually requires the energy, creativity, understanding, and patience of all parties involved. In some communities, it will take considerable time to break the barriers of apathy and mistrust so that meaningful partnership can be forged. But time is of the essence here. We cannot afford to wait till thy kingdom come for the Nigerian police to restructure itself to effectively perform the role of community policing. Hence, the time to engage in more community-friendly uniform voluntary organizations, as well as other strata of the society in community policing effort is now. Thank you very much for your time and your patience. God bless us all.
Oh, thank you so much. That was fantastic. We are quite appreciative of your wonderful thoughts. You have actually added your thoughts to, how we can strengthen the security framework in this country from the perspective of involving the voluntary organization in the community policing framework that government is just coming up with. We quite appreciate your thoughts. In fact, a round of applause for you for that wonderful presentation. We really appreciate you. Because of our time and some of our discussants here have other engagement today, we'll quickly go to the next discussion. And this discussion will be a robust one, will be a comprehensive one like the first one we had. We just finished now. And that will be done by another, individual who is a renowned person in the security industry, and his experience is well educated. He has done a lot to strengthen the security framework in this country. And this is none other than our own Mr. Wale Olaoye. Mr. Wale Olaoye is the group managing director of Allogene Guards. So Allogene is a private security firm that has been, participating and doing a lot when it comes to private security in Nigeria. That is Allogene Group. Yeah. Permit me to welcome Mr. Wale Olaoye as he takes us through this topic, private security firms' participation in curbing crime. Thank you very much. You are welcome, sir.
Sorry, I apologize. Good morning, gentlemen. Let me start by starting on existing protocol and also in complimenting the organizer of this event, especially when it pertains to speaking about the youth. I did hear the Lagos State, the General from Lagos State mention that it's no longer that the youth are the future of the nation, but they are also the current. Well, that is debatable, but I tend to understand what he's talking about. If only the youth also arise to understand the role that they have to play today in development of our country. And I'm also speaking as a youth. Don't mind this look that I have of me. I'm speaking as a youth, and I want to ask that indeed the present and the future also belongs to the youth. But let me quickly run, because I'm told that it's just a discussion point. I'm not going to read any speech, but to speak and engage from the heart as as the essence of all of this. I think to speak about the role of private security in curbing crime, and I think the mega theme is really speaking about community policing. So I'd like to tie it to that and to read just to have a few thoughts to challenge our minds. Now, you understand that private security industry in Nigeria today started way back since the late 50s, I mean, we to understand. But today, private security in Nigeria is so understood with the capacity that we bring to the table. But there are quite a few firms that are formidable, that have created value along every area of the security value chain. First off, you must show that there are over close to 2 million Nigerians employed in private security. 2 million Nigerians employed by that sector. Now, the leading ones amongst them at least employ a minimum of 30,000 people, 20,000 people in their organizations, who are a formidable team that have been trained at least in the basic global standard in private security training. That's called the A to D, but we see that guild as a basis. So it therefore brings to the fore the understanding of a latent bond of 2 million Nigerian youth who are employed in private security. And I also say, within the context of the industry, private security industry have the most people on ground in terms of the role of private security, the role of information and knowing what is happening part time on most of our streets in Nigeria today. For instance, like in our own company, we have people and operations in every state of Nigeria. Private security is also represented in every local government in Nigeria. Now, that tells you the enormity of the capabilities that this sector has in sway in engaging the national security architecture. Now, there's still a lot of room when you look at the dynamics that are played for the youth today, curbing crime. You must understand that a company like ours, for instance, we have 6 strong businesses, everything in risk management and targeted towards the youth. We have a business that is wholly owned in cybersecurity operation. Today, Nigeria loses close to $450 million every year. So $450 billion every year to cybercrime. Now, and unfortunately, most of the youth are found in this vice in our country, but at the same time, which is ironic, is that we are beginning to empower youth in the area of cybersecurity and endpoint security to the extent that a company like ours, we're working with University of OAU, University for Excellence that's built in OAU, and also with Babcock University that runs a solid program in not only cybersecurity, but in mid-level security structure for the country, which is targeted at the youth. And we have a tech hub that is building to empower the youth, in lots of the youth, to be engaged in endpoint and cybersecurity services and structure and certifications that is globally certified. Now, with that, you can see what private security is in curbing crime in our country. So as an industry, we have capabilities, we have lots of youth amongst that 2 million I mentioned to you in physical security. in cybersecurity, in maritime security, aviation security, and telematics and electronics. Most of these people, most of the people that are trained in telematics are on ground. They're able to see and help with information and data that leads to intelligence across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Now, which also now includes forensic, electronics, telematics, identity management that speaks to even NIMS as we speak today. Now, all in these areas are what public security brings to the table and opportunities that the youth have to engage. All critical national assets in Nigeria today, as I speak, 70% of our critical assets are under the watch of private security organizations. So if you put all of that together with people that we employ, industries and companies that we engage, the industry impacts more than close to 70 million Nigerians are impacted by the operation of private security. Now, if you now bring that to the dictum of community policing itself, look, community policing is basically designed to do what? To enable that focuses on building the ties and working closely with members of the communities, with the police itself. So it therefore means that the police itself must transform as an organization to enable it to truly protect and to serve. The third part of it is that it enhances community partnerships. Community partnerships meaning that private security companies organize and employ people at the local level. So today, if you look at street level security and information and data, private security stands the best to be able to aggregate information that helps in building intelligence that helps in national security. This has to be harnessed properly. There has to be a proper structure in community partnerships that's been built into before that's been developed to engage and connect private security in ways that will truly unleash the potential of the more than 2 million Nigerians, especially the youth, that are employed by this sector. The third element of this is the shared problem solving, because when you were part of policing is to have the shared problem solving capabilities with the police and communities. Now, on the shared problem solving platform, they have to agree areas on what and who and the how in building trust. Now, with private security employed and engaging at the local level, and the model that used to drive this is the SARA model, which is the scanning. On the scanning that helps community policing is mostly enabled by private security by the full structure they have on ground. The analytics end of it, private security provides the capabilities to ensure this also works. Then, of course, the response and assessment. It's very to know that companies like ours have a robust response system already on ground. Why? Because we're in every state of Nigeria and we invested massively in technology. So the technology that I'm talking about is not just the cybersecurity end of it, but we're able to aggregate data from everywhere, from at least 1 in 20 streets in Nigeria today that has a presence. We know what is going on. We have real-time information on telematics that feeds into a fusion center. The only private fusion centers that is being used today is actually owned and built by quite a few private top engineering companies like ours. This is a huge vehicle that can connect and plug into national security in ways that has remained unchallenged or unstructured. If we plug in private security, plugging private security into the community policing initiative has to be the way to go to harness and to enable the community partnerships and the shared problem solving element of community policing to work effectively. The Honorable Lagos was mentioning the issue of the neighborhood watch. I mean, when you look at what Lagos is doing with the neighborhood watch and the capabilities that can be enhanced if all this with the volunteer organizations, the neighborhood watch, and security are harnessed in such a way that the platforms that create all of them to share information and to enable real-time crime problem-solving information data on every industry in Nigeria today can only have credence with the private security group that has more than 2 million youth most of our country. Hello? Can you hear me? So
we can hear you, sir.
So in other words, it's no longer news that the the police citizen ratio in Nigeria that stands over 500 is far behind the nominal standard of 1 to 300. Private security are able to bridge this gap. Not only in that, actually, that's what has brought us to the fore. But most importantly, the capabilities that is inherent in private security in Nigeria is enormous in plugging that gap. And like I said, in connecting to the community policing structure, when we expect that police itself to have transformed internally to enable this to happen, that has to happen. Community partnerships with respect to the way we engage on ground has to be harnessed. And thirdly, the shared problem solving areas of community policing that has to be done, that has the road plugging for private security. So the role of technology, look, I was trying to you about the way at which private security uses technology. I stand to be corrected, and I want to challenge you that, look, you need to come to organize certain caliber of private security in Nigeria today are already at the level where even most security are not in deploying technology that enables not just physical security, but as taking cognizance of what's the need for safety in an open world that we have today. Why? Security has transcended the physical, as the first speaker was saying. In the cyber domain and physical security, we're already integrating this in a formidable way that enables us to deal with crime solving capabilities, not only in the physical domain, but in the cyber domain. This capability is inherent in private security, and there's a lot that the police can learn as we fuse this into community policing, and there can be a defined structure to make this work. And most importantly, we're still debating and speaking about looking at a private security architecture for the country. That was what the president was saying in December. Gentlemen and the youth, I mean, there is the need to relook the role of private security in the national security architecture in a way that transcends the way we have seen it. There's so much that has not been enabled under the current structure. So when you look at community policing framework that has been built, and the security of the country, this group, I just told you that over 2 million Nigerians have not put in a way that is structured to connect with the national security domain in enabling and tackling every challenges that we have today, from cybersecurity to armed banditry to kidnapping and to physical security threats and risks that we have in public safety. So from maritime security to aviation security to identification management to telematics to data analytics to forensic and to electronic and the physical domains. These are latent areas where private security already operate in strategic ways. Quite a few companies already operate in these ways. And there has to be a way to structure, to harness these capabilities and connect it to community policing and security architecture. Lastly, again, I'll just talk about the youth. Don't forget what I said. We already, as a private organization, which quite a few of us in private security are already doing, creating and building new competencies for the youth in the area of cybersecurity, in the area of telematics. We're already working with universities to create these capabilities. I think it is high time that the government looks quickly into all these capabilities that have been built and how to frame a more robust and resounding private security engagement in national security and also in curbing crime in our country. Most importantly, with the community policing framework, there has to be a structured way to connect and plug in private security and to unleash the potential of the over 2 million youth employed by this sector. Some argue that it's more than that, that's close to 5 million. I'm speaking of those that are licensed and those that are structured. If you look at the structured part, we're speaking about close to, if not more than 20 to 20 million Nigerians engaged in all domains of private security. And there has to be a structured way to connect them to the national security architecture and also to plug them into the community policing framework. Because don't forget, we employ locally, we have food soldiers locally, and that's the whole essence of community policing, where you're able to build, where you're able to ensure that we build a community-oriented building ties and working closely with the police in ensuring public safety. So on that note, I want to rest my case a bit, and so I don't stretch my time, if you allow me. So thank you very much. And once again, I appreciate the organizers. I appreciate all the thought put behind this. But I do hope that you can do a lot of you can harness the learnings from this engagement in such a way that it can be meaningful in addressing the issues. So not an empty talk again, but we're able to articulate a few thoughts and to look at how we can plug into community safety and also national security architecture in ways that transcends the normal. Thank you, gentlemen, and thanks for listening to me. And I hope I've made a bit of sense to you guys.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful delivery from you, sir. We are quite appreciative and impressed with your delivery. In fact, you have taken us, into the discussion proper, and I believe and hope that the youth who are presently listening to us have learned a lot from what you have said, even the government too. We have a lot of agitation in our minds as regards security, and you have actually, mentioned some, things that actually assured us that the private security outfits are really doing, enough. They are really doing a lot to strengthen to strengthen the security apparatus in this country and to strengthen what the government is actually doing. We thank you and we appreciate you for the wonderful delivery there. So I want to know if, look at me, if we have any discussion, if we have any question from the participants. I learned that we are still expecting the representative of the CP. Mr. Lukamin, do we have any question yet? If not, I would want the representative of His Excellency and the Commissioner for Special Duty to just chip in one or two things from the discussion so far, sir. If you want to do that, sir.
Well, thank you. There's not much for me to say again. Let me just appreciate.
Thank you to the speakers, to the representatives of the donors, and everyone. I want to believe we all learned a lot, and I think we all can go ahead with questions and answer while I try to link up with the police of Lagos to see if you'll back online. Thank you very much.
Okay, you actually interrupted the Honorable Commissioner. Is trying to give us his take from the two discussions, from the two presentations. So please, you can go ahead, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We are very sorry for that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I won't take more than a minute thereabout. It's just to appreciate the two speakers, Mr. Dixon and Olaoye. Thank you so much. The delivery was very informative and accurate and sharp. My take from there, although I kept hearing so much, the interesting thing is, as a person, I never really have looked at the angle of the private security outfits, private sector, much in terms of what their cooperation, what they can do with the government. So this is something that I'm taking away from there, realizing that indeed these are partners and we need to reach out to them or they reach out to us, whichever way, and let's work together, especially in the area of this telematics, that you've been talking about. Let me just appreciate both speakers and say that as much as I can say that government is doing a lot already, there's still so much. There's still so much for us to do. Well, in the area of IT, the government is doing a lot now, especially through the Ministry of Science and Technology. There's so much that is happening. We are very conscious about cyber crime, cyber attack, and all that. And therefore, we are creating hubs all over the place. And we're engaging the youth in our own way to ensure that we have a youth that is not just IT swerve, but also conscious of the need to protect the nation through from cyber attacks. But then I take away particularly what Mr. Laoye said in terms of what he, I think what I'm going to do is to reach out to the Commissioner for Science and Technology and speak to him. And we might be contacting Mr. Lauye. Please bear that in mind. So this is something I'm taking away from here. Mr. Dixon, thank you so much. That was a delivery that was fantastic. And this is just what I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful for that. For the brief addition you have added to the discussion, sir. We appreciate that and we thank you for that, sir. Then I have a question here for Ambassador Dixon. So though he dwelled into, the issue of youth, having, the need to cope with poverty, unemployment, depression as a result of the system in Nigeria, then how can the youth, as much as we are doing a lot of orientation training now, how can we, get larger chunk, more, youth to be, to capture them into this security framework that is just coming up, maybe via the voluntary organization and other platform that can be explored?
Okay, thank you very much. You said a whole lot, and I want to also appreciate once again the representative of His Excellency for opening his door for partnership with well-meaning bodies. And I also want to commend the second speaker who delved so much into the functionality of the private security and how they could be of help. For youth engagement in Nigeria, there is a very big constraint. And until there is a deliberate or a conscious policy on the part of the federal government to support, both federal, state, and local government to support this youth organization, the youth for now, they are doing a whole lot, including what you came up with today, engaging us to find a way out. I think in advanced society, once youth come up with noble idea or innovations or inventions, government will be there to support such youth by way of giving subvention or grants to ensure to enable such youth group expand the scope of the activities. But the reverse is the case in Nigeria. I think for over 20 years now, the meager subvention that is always given annually to youth organization by the federal government was stopped. And this alone posed a very serious threat to youth development and advancement in Nigeria. So until this situation is reversed, until government and government agencies see youth organization as complementary bodies, yes, until that is done, and with the needed support, by the time that the youth get the support from the federal, state, and local government, some of the states are doing the whole lot, but at the level of the federal government, like the level Peace Corps has gone today, I have over 178,000 members, mostly graduate nationwide. Lagos alone, 10,000. But we are not receiving this support. So if you are talking about boosting youth and bringing youth out of the world, then government should come in as it is being done in advanced society.
Okay, thank you very much for that beautiful response. So we go to the second question that we have here. Yeah, this question is as a result of the response given by the representative of His Excellency, Mr. Bangboshe, that there is this information deficit when it comes to the competence and the capacities of people in the private security organizations. Now, Mr. Wale Olaoye, what do you think you can do as a private security expert? What do you think you can do to harness, all these competencies and get it across to the government of the day, across all levels, at the local government level, state, even at the national level?
Thank you very much. And I take the compliment from Mr. Bangboshe. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Now, to answer that question, you see, a lot of people are not as informed as to what is going on. There is currently, as the law stands, cyber security is regulated by the Ministry of Interior. And there's a lot of debates about whether that regulation is adequate or as strong as it ought to be, or whether it's supposed to be elsewhere. But the thing is, there's already a very strong plan on ground, because cyber security is not, hither to this time, it has not been properly regulated, but there's a lot of attempt at regulation. The first regulation starts entirely, which is the training of the people you see on ground. I can speak for my company, I can speak for our own company, for instance. All our employees across board, whether from the guard level or the mariners or the technology team, the cyber teams, we employ an average of 45% of our staff, of our people that you see, are university graduates and post-degree holders. Now, and these are in their thousands, employed in different domains. So in the area, let me speak on one that people see the most, the private guard, the guards you see. They operate on the City and Guild standard, which is the global standard of training guards across the world. That's what we apply, what we train on. And that standard is what National Board of Technical Education, NBTE, and with our regulators, with the Ministry of Interior and NSCDC, are now working to adopt as a national standard. Now, first off, every guard you see is trained. Because they're trained, that training is called the Global A2D training around City and Guild. So from intel management, observation, security, surveillance, and all of this, in that training is a whole lot of training. So they're all trained. Many people don't understand this, and it's now being standardized in our country as an attempt by the industry to standardize it. Thirdly, everyone you see, especially in our business, they are known, meaning that their background checked. We know who they are, we know where they live, we know they volunteer, we know who their guarantors are, we know where they hail from. So when it happens, we're able to trace them to the guarantors and where they live. Thirdly, they also work with the domains where they work. So they are locals, they're locally known in where they are. Fourthly, we now have technology that with a great man and technology. I mean, they have devices, but anytime you see a halogen man, he's not alone. There's a back end that he sees in a fusion center, meaning we have. I'm not sure if the police can boast of that. With all due respect, so that has been led to a level where is above the average level that you see for most people operating in private security or even public security. So, thirdly, we have the ones that work in as mariners, we call them seamen. They're trained in that area as well. Then the ones that work as engineers and mathematics engineers, because we have the school. We knew that this was important. You cannot build anything without a foundation, without a body of knowledge. That has been built. So that's why we are working with Babcock University, for instance, the School of Security and School of Security of Babcock. They're partnership with us to do this massively. We have IFE as well. We have a huge program with IFE in the area of cyber security. Thirdly, also with the University, we have programs that we run together to empower the youth and build capacity and build capabilities in all these new domains. So this, and we make bold to say that even addressing our national defense systems, why can we not build a national defense industry on the back of the youth who are able to develop capabilities and systems that can be deployed even as far back as in Sambisa or create. So let me give you an example. When using our telematics at early stages, we used to work with the French company. We have the technology, we have their partners. We pay money monthly to subscribe on the devices, on the software, on the applications. But we challenged ourselves 4 years ago, to begin to have young Nigerians working with our system in a tech hub to begin to develop our own applications. Today, we have stopped working on the back of that foreign company. We have saved dollars. We don't longer pay foreign currency to that company. There is locally owned technology developed by Nigerians, developed by our youth in our own tech hub. So there is a lot to do in that domain. And we can also work with technology to help public security agencies like the police and the likes in enhancing capabilities in different areas of telematics and positioning systems and what applications they can use to run the operations. Fourthly, I mentioned cybersecurity. We are building a lot of capacity in that. Today, we are working with most of the serious companies in cybersecurity in Nigeria today, with the banks and telcos. You find us there. So, and the market globally is in their need of local capabilities. Even the foreign ones that have the applications there, they need people that can operate local, that can understand technology and operate for them locally. So it's a huge area. And now for the speaking of community that's very tied to community policing, that's what I'm saying that one of the critical parts of community policing is the community partnership. It has to be structured. I mean, these partnerships are, I mean, it's saying to solve problems. Partnerships in area of information, in area of technology, in area of response, in area of ability, in area of vision, can be built for public security, and the harnessing of even the Lagos Neighborhood Watch that's owned by government, the gentleman from Peace Corps mentioned, all these things can be harnessed in ways that are structured, that will enable for a strengthened community partnership with the community policing of police. And if you not add the youth, that means the youth themselves should organize into proper organizations, different youth organizations coming together, identified in the locality, and they are taken on board as partners in the community partnership framework of community policing, because that's the whole essence: to engage, to build ties, and to work closely to enable public safety. So every part of the community having a say, having a go-to, having able to solve its own problems, working with the police to enhance the police to serve and truly protect. So let me stop there before I move to other topics.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Wale. In fact, that has been,
we're not hearing you.
Wonderful.
We're not hearing you.
Okay. Hello, sir. Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fantastic for Mr. Wale. In fact, Mr. Wale has said a lot, that would trigger other questions and other discussion for some other times. Yeah, I think you have convinced us of the effort the private security outfits are actually making and doing in order to make this country a safe place to be. I want to thank you, and I believe as a youth organization and as a youth body, we have taken our part, and I believe from the government end, they've taken their part, and I believe a lot of groups and bodies will have learned one or two things from what you have shared with us today. And I want to commend you for your diligence and for taking such huge steps and huge step towards making sure that we do the needful when it comes to security, and we don't relent on your horse. I want to commend you and thank you for that. So without wasting time, I have another guest around who joined us a few minutes ago. I want to appreciate him for taking out time to join us on this webinar, and that is Mr. Adebumi Akibo. Mr. Adebumi Akibo is the International Vice President of the C&S Uniform Organization. Yeah, Mr. Adebumi, please, we want to have your thoughts too. Thank you very much. You have the floor, sir.
I want to appreciate the convener of the event, Mr. Lukman Aminu and his partners. They are doing a fine job. And I want to also commend and respect all those who have contributed before me, especially someone of note and someone of mention who has mentored me in the past and given me the privilege to have acted as its chief intelligence officer at a particular point in my life. That is not that person, but the Commandant Ako Dixon of Peace Corps of Nigeria. He should remember me by my name by now, Akimbo Adebumi. And I served under him in one of those states. I remember then.
Hello, Chimile. You were fine to drink.
Okay, so we're having it.
How now? With you.
Okay, so I sat on at the point in time. I was also fortunate to have developed the of the association at that time, and I appreciate that. And that brings me to the last speaker that talks about structure. Fortunately, associations such as Peace Corps should have been instituted as a constitutional body, and many others who are already coming up could have been absorbed in such a way and manner that we have one single body that has so much and giving so much to the community, from the local level to the international level. Now, when I say international, I mean what I'm saying. I'm the Vice President of International Youth Fellowship, CNS Movement Church Worldwide, and I also run a radio station, which is online, in preaching peace. Like others have said, we need to do this in a collective manner that allows the young person to understand where he or she can stand. Permit me to also still mention Peace Corps again, that's giving young people so much platform and leverage, either creating jobs or channeling their thoughts. I will not forget during this past few years when we are talking of the national identity. The national identity issue could have been a leverage to ensuring security, either locally, internationally, and have also been able to ensure a proper structure in every single vice, not just in security, but in every other wise. In the internet industry, I'm fortunate enough to be one of those names that people call upon to discuss certain issues when it comes to local content. Globally, it is understandable that there's nothing like local policing. Like, there's nothing as good as local policing. You wake up in the morning, you step onto the road or the street, and everyone is greeting you because they know who you are. You find anything unusual, it is very easy because you live with the people, and the people have come to respect you. You are someone who is to maintain certain pedigree in the community. There would be no doubt. In a country like Nigeria, there's something that has over 250 groups of people from all over its sovereign region. There is nothing as good as having your own people there to tell you you are right or you are wrong. Concerning all the insecurity in the country, groups, small pocket groups that are being formed would also assist in moving them forward, because they would have one goal: assist those in authority using your own form of legality. If these two come together, there will be no problem of authority and power, because you have both at the beck and call. For the Nigerian young person, we're trying to do our best. It may not be the best, but we are trying to do our best. Government of the day, I would like to always move a little from government, because the people of the country, the citizen in the country, are its government. The day the citizen go to sleep, its government goes to sleep. So if government is seen as going the wrong way, then it's the people that are asleep. Now we are doing this as a form of enlightenment, a form of rejuvenating the security sector to understand how best to go. This is a step in the right direction. We keep doing these discussions. We keep having a tete-a-tete, a collaboration, a partnership to move us all together in the right direction. We would be achieving more. A Nigeria at 60 should be a Nigeria boasting of the best set of security network money cannot even buy. You should be able to tap into your mobile phone if you have been approved as a security platform or security entity. For example, the new police code says that we can now have individual investigative company or team. You can apply to become an investigator as an individual, whether you have the experience or you feel you have the pedigree. So if we kind of like push this and it gets to an extent where the national identity has concluded its path as a form of identifying any person, you tell me your name and I have the required registration and regulation that binds me. There are some certain information based on your security that I would have. I may not have your accounts. I may not have your Secret Service role in the government, but I'll have some information to actually verify that you have a right to do whatever you are doing at that particular point in time. That is why when we look at some of these security training documents, we see them saying, what is your name? Or can you prove yourself with a national identity? You call out your national identity, at the top of the button, they have it to verify that, oh, you are supposed to be a resident here. Truly, you are supposed to be working here. So you have a right to this place. That would not cause the breach of security value that we have when it comes to one-on-one. And when it comes to the IT industry, we still have a lot to be done in that particular angle. The average Nigerian citizen, apart from what the young person can do, needs to have a form of orientation on how to actually secure him or herself. Because we look away from this particular fact, it affects so many things. And for us at 60, when we are talking of peace, when we're talking of security, then we are looking for peace. Injustice is a form of insecurity. when a policeman or a uniformed person on an approved security guide moves towards you and accuse or try to state certain information to you that you feel is a breach on your personality, and he or she is not equipped with the right information, then you will get angry. It becomes an injustice to you. So on the final note, so as not to take too much of our time, based on the fact that a lot of you have committed so much time, and my apologies for coming in late. I had so much on my table, but we thank God that we're still able to make it. On the final note, moving forward, for all of us who are in the security sector, we need to pay more attention to how to collaborate together, how to support each other, either locally, on the state level, and on the international level, not just talking about national level. Number two is that young people need to begin to understand that if you are secured, then everyone around you will be peaceful. If you move into my community and we can't identify you, it's a form of insecurity for us. If you send me a mail or a text message and I don't know who you are, it's a form of insecurity. So we need to build our capacity. We need to build our capacity. And I want to urge on the platform, the organizers, the conveners, that are doing good. And I think this is something that should come up on just an auspicious day as Independence Day, but something that should be a quarterly a program that could engage security experts, that would delve into, local problems. What are the local challenges? How can I address the challenges? Again, taking us back a little, far back when Peace Corps started, we take students off the streets, we put them in their classroom, do orientation to make them ensure that they understand what it's all about. Even at the university level, I went to Obafemi Awolowo University because I had the last speaker mentioned it. We grew up a team of people who could ensure that the more you are informed, the better for everyone. The Modakeke Ife crisis at that particular point in time, I led with in company of one of my great friend. I would have loved to mention his name, but we led a team that went into the community and brought peace. And that peace has been resonating since 1999, 2000. It wasn't easy, but we achieved it. And I believe with the set of people that have spoken today, we can do more. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Oh, fantastic, Mr. Adebumi. You have added a lot to the discussion today. We quite appreciate you. We are grateful for your wonderful delivery and your wonderful thoughts. It's quite, impressive. We really appreciate you for that. Another applause for you. We really appreciate everybody today. We have added a lot to our discussion today. In fact, I want to say that this second edition of the Youth, Peace and Security Summit has been wonderful and has added a lot to, to our security architecture. When it comes to information, orientation, it's what we have learned today goes a long way in strengthening us and in making us know that the security issue, should not be left to the government. It is something everybody must take, part in. I must play my role as a youth. You must play your role as a police officer, and you must play your role as a government functionary. We really appreciate everybody today. In fact, if we want to sum up everything that has been said today, we have actually seen the security from what it used to be before. And we're able to see where we are as a nation. And we can actually anticipate where we should be or where we are going. In fact, I love, as much as I love what every other person here have said, I equally, appreciate what Mr. Wale had said. Wale Adeoye from Allergen Groups. There is no way we will not, explore technology. Technology is the hinting today. Let us look at the rate of cyber crimes. Let us look at the rate of crimes in Nigeria. If we don't evolve or explore technology, there is no how we can leverage. There's no how we can, say we are doing a lot to curb insecurity in this country. As a nation today, as we mark our 60 years of independence, one thing we cannot forget in hurry is the rate of insecurity in this country. Many states in this country are not safe. In fact, many localities, many rural areas are not safe because of, security threats here and there. And we believe that with this kind of program, summit, to orientate our people, to give information to our people, to educate our people, it will go a long way in nibbing the problem, the scourge, the scourge in the hub, to nib it in the bud. So I'm very sorry for that. So we appreciate everybody, from the representative of His Excellency, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, in person of Mr. Bangbose Tayo, the Commissioner for Special Duties, to Mr. Dixon Hako, the Commandant of Peace Corps, to Mr. Wale Olaoye, the Group Managing Director of Alogene Group, and to Mr. Adebumi Akimbo, the International Vice President of the Kerubu and Seraphim Uniform Organization. We appreciate you, and to others too. Our participants on YouTube, we appreciate you for coming, and I believe that you have learned a lot today. Whatever we have learned today as a people, our purpose or the objective of coming up with this kind of discussion is not just to, just for discussion's sake. It is for us to pick one or two things that can, impact our lives, that can transform our lives, and that can, facilitate or promote our security in this country. So I want to appreciate you all for the wonderful participation and delivery today. On this note, I want to invite the convener, the organizer of this webinar, in person of Comrade Lukman Aminu, popularly called Lukamin, to give his vote of thanks. Lukamin, you have the floor.
Modibo?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much to everyone who has participated today, especially His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented here by the Commissioner on Special Duties. Also to our discussants, I want to appreciate everyone. The contact of the CP, the State Police PRO, had been a bit busy and could not join us. We want to apologize for his absence. I also want to accept and inform us that I have taken it upon myself as a responsibility that this fora will continue to come up every 2 months. So the next edition will be precisely on the 5th of December, which will be the Christmas edition. So the fact still remains a fact that we cannot be safe if we ourselves don't participate in the community policing program. And the community policing program will not be successful if everyone in the community is not part and parcel of who decides to make everything around them safe. So thank you very much to all our audience on YouTube, on Facebook, and every other channel. We really appreciate Ambassador Dixon Ako. I appreciate Mr. Akimbo, the Honorable Commissioner of Special Duties, Honorable Taiwo Bangbose Martins. We really appreciate you. I appreciate Mr. Wale Olaoye of the Alogene Group, Mr. Adeniji Adeboye, and the team behind this. Precisely, I also appreciate our distinguished uncle, Mr. Abiola Taiwo Bakari of the Center for Global Peace Institute. Thank you to everyone. We are really appreciating. Thank you for participating. The young people of Lagos and Nigeria are seriously willing to participate in the community policing project. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, the convener. So on this note, we want to say thank you, and do have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye. We love you. We appreciate you. We believe that if we need If we have the need to call you some other times, we'll respond to our call. Thank you very much. From the governor, His Excellency, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, ably represented by Mr. Bangboye Tayo. We appreciate you. We appreciate Ambassador Dixon. We appreciate Mr. Wale Olaoye. We appreciate Mr. Adebumi. We want to say thank you very much, and do have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.
Sorry, please. My name is Tayo Bangboshe Martins, not Bangboye, not Taiwo. Tayo Bangboshe Martins. The first name is